Hey everyone, welcome back. For all you focused learners out there who love breaking down complex ideas into really clear, digestible pieces, well, you're in for a treat today. We're unpacking a truly fascinating ancient apocalyptic text. Specifically, we're looking at an excerpt that details the descent of the fallen and the prophecy behind Shield Judgment. It's this striking, intensely structured piece of literature, and it gives us such a vivid window into how ancient minds conceptualized divine justice and cosmic order. I've got a fantastic visual breakdown prepared that takes all this rich imagery from the source and maps it out for us. Okay, let's dive into this.
Right out of the gate, the text establishes an incredibly ominous, almost cinematic mood. Just listen to this quote. "And I saw there the hosts of the angels of punishment walking and holding chains of iron and of metal." Wow. So we aren't starting with, peaceful harps and fluffy clouds here. No, we're starting with a terrifying, highly organized supernatural force preparing for something monumental. That presence of iron and metal chains immediately signals to us that a heavy, inescapable judgment is about to unfold.
To really understand this prophecy, we'll follow a four-part sequence today. Number 1, angels of punishment. Number 2, the Eastern kings awake. 3, the great battle. And finally 4, the mouth of Sheol.
Now what's really fascinating here is the strict, almost suspenseful sequence of events. It operates kind of like a doomsday clock, Everything follows this meticulous timeline. We start up in the heavenly realm with the initial vision. Then we move to the earthly provocation, which the text labels "in those days," before transitioning rapidly into chaotic conflict and eventually arriving at the final, ultimate judgment.
All right, Phase 1, angels of punishment, the heavenly preparation.
To really grasp what's happening in this vision, we first need to identify our cast of characters. We've got the angels of punishment. Those are the ones wielding those heavy iron chains. But contrasting them, our narrator is accompanied by the angel of peace, who basically acts as a guide explaining what's going down. The text also specifically names the chosen and beloved as the targets for those chains. And that's actually a fascinating twist on those terms, implying they're the chosen targets for punishment. Later on, we'll see the kings of Parthia and Media enter the fray, as well as a group referred to simply as the just.
So when the narrator asks the angel of peace where exactly these chains are going, the answer is, frankly, incredibly dark. The angel explains they're going to the targets so that they may be thrown into the deep abyss of the valley. And this isn't just some temporary holding cell. As the text explicitly states, it's a place where the days of their lives will be ended. It is the absolute ultimate, inescapable destination for those marked for judgment.
So the crucial point here is this absolute number 0. The source tells us that once the valley is filled with these punished individuals, the day of their error will from that time on not be counted. Their time literally runs out, 0 days left. There are no more days of error, no more second chances, no more time left on the clock. It's an absolute and permanent cessation of their actions.
Moving right along to Phase 2, the Eastern kings awake, marking the earthly provocation.
The text describes the angels turning their heads eastward, specifically targeting the people of Parthia and Media to, quote, excite the kings. Notice the stark contrast in these rulers here. Initially, they're just in their resting places, sitting comfortably upon their thrones. But then the angels cast a spirit of disturbance over them, and this supernatural interference completely transforms them. They go from resting monarchs to absolute predators, described vividly in the text as lions and hungry wolves amidst their flocks. It's such a brilliant way to illustrate how divine will, when manipulating earthly powers, results in this pure animalistic frenzy.
Driven by the spirit of disturbance, the invasion begins with just devastating momentum. The text says they will ascend and step upon the land of their chosen. Consider the metaphor used here. It will be before them a threshing floor and a path. Now, a threshing floor is a place where grain is violently beaten to separate the wheat from the chaff, right? So these invading armies, they aren't just passing through. They are effortlessly trampling, flattening, and devastating the land as easily as you or I might walk down a clear paved path. Which brings us to Phase 3, the great battle, and this unstoppable conflict.
At this point, the narrative introduces a massive, dramatic shift. You've got this unstoppable, terrifying invasion force, those hungry wolves steamrolling the land like a threshing floor. But suddenly, they hit a brick wall. The text says, "But the city of my just will be a hindrance to their horses." This is quite literally the immovable object meeting the unstoppable force. The city of the just stands absolutely resolute, completely halting the momentum of the Eastern kings.
And this brilliantly illustrates the true nature of this prophecy's judgment. Because they can't conquer the city of the just, the invasion force completely unravels. It happens in steps. First, their horses are physically hindered. Second, unable to strike their actual enemy, the text says they will take up a battle amongst themselves, and their right will become strong against themselves. So the violence turns completely inward. And third, this internal conflict descends into total madness, where relatives brutally turn on each other. To really emphasize how absolute this chaos is, notice how societal and familial bonds just completely dissolve. A man won't know his neighbor, or even his brother. A son will no longer recognize his father or his mother. The friendly fire is absolute. And why does this happen? Well, the text explicitly tells us this horrifying self-destruction continues until there shall be sufficient bodies by their death and their punishment over them. So the invading army actually executes its own divine punishment. Crazy, right? Let's transition to Phase 4, the mouth of Sheol, the cosmic conclusion. With the earthly realm choked by the self-inflicted slaughter of these invading kings, the prophecy reaches its stark, terrifying climax. The text reads, "And in those days the mouth of Sheol will be opened, and they will sink into it." The earth literally opens its maw to consume all the chaos that the angels of punishment set into motion at the very beginning of the vision. Let's summarize exactly how the source resolves this epic sequence. First, the mouth of Sheol opens up. Second, their destruction. Sheol itself devours the sinners. And third, which is perhaps most important for the structure of the prophecy, the sinners are permanently removed from the presence of the chosen. This entire supernatural chain of events successfully purges the threat, permanently separating the chaos from the just and ultimately restoring the cosmic balance.
You see, this text is so much more than just a frightening story. It's a meticulously structured mechanism of ancient logic. Everything from the heavy iron chains to the specific psychological breakdown of the invading armies serves a very deliberate purpose in restoring order. It leaves us with a fascinating final thought for this explainer. What does this intense sequence teach us about the ancient understanding of divine justice and cosmic order? It suggests a worldview where justice, while terrifying and violent, is never random. It's a calculated, inescapable force designed to ultimately protect the just. I hope you found this breakdown as gripping as I did. Keep asking questions, keep studying, and I'll catch you on the next one.